quality of mankind in the eyes of God or in the wisdom of Buddha. Only 6 years since I started my mission, but I have found that truly everyone inherits the kingdom of God. Everyone has Buddha nature, and everyone can see the Buddha nature in no time, provided he or she is willing to, is convinced that he and she can see, and willing to let a teacher helps to open the door for them. All can see. All can enter into the kingdom of God. There is no one, rich, poor, small, big, weak, strong, intelligent, stupid, has been refused into the kingdom of God. No one ever. Not as far as I know. Therefore, I believe what Christ says is true. We just have to become a child again, and then we can enter the kingdom of God. And right now, on earth. Why? Because the Bible says, lo and behold, the kingdom of God is within you. The Bible didn't say the kingdom of God is very far away, 20,000 years, light years distance. No. He said the kingdom of God is within you. And the Buddha says, Phật tại tâm. The Buddha is within you. So now both of them saying the same thing. So if we want to find the Buddha, we want to find God, we have to go within. But how to become a child? How to become a child is not easy, we think. Truly it's not easy if we do it all by ourselves. But if we have the grace of God and the blessings of a living Buddha, the living Buddha is not the body, it is the power of love that flows into one body and to bless the whole world. So when the Buddha was alive, he said he was Buddha. It doesn't mean he was proud of his own personality, his ego or Buddha. No. Mean he already destroyed his own ego. He is no longer an ordinary I, but he was once with the Father, once with the universe, with the creative force. So when Jesus said, I am the Son of God, I and my Father are one, it didn't mean that he was very arrogant and proud of himself as an individual ego self. But he knows that he's lost now. He has lost himself and merged into the ocean of consciousness, of the great wisdom. So how to become a child is very easy. We need a so-called cleansing process. First, we must vow to follow the commandments of the Bibles or the Buddhist scriptures again. They both say similar things. You shall not kill. In Buddhism also, không sát sanh, you do not kill. In Hinduism also the same, ahimsa. No harm to other living beings. That means ahimsa. From that ahimsa stem the commandments of the Bible, of the Buddhist Sutra. Christ also has been in India for 19 years. Buddha also had to learn first from the Vedic scriptures. Then he became Buddha by his own right. So, if we follow the commandments of the Bible or the Buddhist scriptures, and we start to change our way of life, and then from that day on, also by the grace of God, we will be cleansed, be purified like a child. And then when we are purified, at that moment, we see the light of God. We see the kingdom of God, or so-called Buddha nature. So when Jesus was alive, he gave people baptism, to baptize people, Even he himself has to go through the process of baptism. He says, let the law be done. Why did he have to do that? Even though he was already great, and John the Baptist knew he was great. But because he knows he has to set an example of humility, of believing in grace of God to the rest of humanity. His whole life is an example of humanity. Also, Sakyamuni Buddha is also the same. Sakyamuni was a prince and was very rich and very talented. He could have the whole nation in luxury. But he went around 49 years, even after his enlightenment, to beg. His begging doesn't mean that he couldn't work or he's unable to work. It's just to show many things, many examples to humanity. The first is to show us the desirelessness for the world's possession. The second is to show us that we all have to depend on each other in order to live. No one is higher, no one is lower. He was the first one to preach equality, to break down the caste systems of the untouchable idea in India. He taught by his own example and humility. He doesn't only preach by mouth, by words, but he taught by his life example. Every great master does that. Jesus also did the same. He walked barefoot. He has nowhere to lay his head. Now, in our days, in this modern day of our time, we could not follow exactly like Buddha or like Jesus, but we could follow in our heart their way of living. We have to feel a detachment for this world, and this is also renunciation. We live in the world, but we live without the world. We should not crave so much for the material comforts. We have them just to sustain our life, but knowing in our heart truly that the greatest one like Buddha and Jesus never care for them. We follow Buddha in this way, by detachment, by desirelessness. We follow Christ in this way, by detachment, by desirelessness, and also by love for our people. Now, the American people have shown some of their Christianity love, of the Christ love, in some of the world's interaction with the other countries. For example, the American country have accepted many refugees from different nations. That is a part of Christ's love. That is how we follow Christ. That is also a part of Buddha's compassion. Therefore, I believe